We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who attempt to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. Get off this fucking ass. Let me shoot you. Can't fucking breathe. Let me shoot you. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Ben Bronco. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Friday, you're probably just as confused what the fuck is going on as I am. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to this completely fucking random, unscripted, and unprecedented Friday evening I'm No Joe podcast. We're calling it a 178-ish due to life circumstances. We were not able to go live last night. That means we do, unfortunately, have to delay the round 2 ass whooping of RJ in the Pit Grand Prix semifinals until our next full regular live show, which is also a reason I wanted to go live this evening and do a quick little Friday night show, because we didn't get a chance last night, obviously, to let you all know that there will be no I'm No Joe podcast next week, because as like there was the previous week, there is no major card next weekend. So even more reason I wanted to make sure we got some kind of talking going on here this fine evening. That being said, before we get into the just fucking menagerie of cards going on, I realize there is more than likely going to be some glitches and glips and things. OBS is freaking out. Everybody and their brother's having trouble with OBS right now. And YouTube Studio has been fighting me as well today. So fun times all the way around. That being said, we're going to try and soldier on through it here. We do have a fucking metric mountain of news that I want to try and burrow my way through as quickly as I possibly can here. I've got them in mostly chronological order, but again, this is completely unprepared. Life has been insane the last couple of days, to say the least. So thank you everyone for bearing with us here. Let's try and barrel through some of these. First and foremost, we did do a What Did I Say show recap. It seems like it's been forever ago now, but on there we did actually break the news, despite there being a news and recent event segment on the regular show here. We got confirmation, officially speaking, Jose Aldo has officially retired from MMA, and in doing so, the UFC was even gracious enough to release him from his contract. That way, if he wants to go do professional boxing or go do kickboxing or go back to playing soccer or whatever the fuck he wants to do, he is completely fucking free and allowed to do that now. It really feels like a shitty way for the UFC to have let him go, but you know, UFC going to do what the UFC is going to fucking do, no matter what the rest of us fucking say or think about it. So, unfortunately, there is that. That being said, we kind of got the flip version of that shortly after that announcement. We actually got another in the latest wave of unretirements. Marlon Moraes officially unretired from MMA and signed with the PFL and is now going to be fighting Shane Burgos. When is it? November 25th, TBD location. Interesting first matchup for him. Interesting decision to come out of retirement to go to PFL to fight another UFC guy. Just strange all the way around. But back on the actual UFC side of the house here, our November 5th UFC Vegas 64 card officially now has the headliner locked in. Ink has been put to paper, and the card will be marqueed by none other than Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell versus Movsar Evliov, which is a fight that I think a lot of us have been saying was probably going to be a good matchup to make, and it seems like the UFC has caught on as well. Not a bad fucking matchup on that card, in my opinion. Not a bad way to fucking round it out. I don't know. We'll see what they do with the rest of the card, but at least we know that main event should be interesting, provided nothing happens between now and then. Hopefully. That being said, we got a small slew of announcements here. The November 5th card officially has added to it Derek Minner versus Shylin Nerdunbeki, I believe is how they pronounce his name. And then we got word that the first card of next year, this is all from the same page, that's why it's out of order. January 14th, UFC Fight Night. I think it'll be Vegas 71 or Vegas 70, maybe. I don't remember. Jeff Molina getting back in the action versus the recently unretired himself, Jimmy the Brick Flick. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see as well. And then we got one back for this side of the cards here. UFC Vegas 65, November 19th, week before Thanksgiving. Sergey Spivak versus Derek Lewis. Black Beast getting back in the cage. Definitely going to be an interesting matchup. Hopefully we see a better version of Derek Lewis, but we've also seen Spivak looking pretty fucking good lately too. So I don't know, man. That's a big fucking matchup for Derek Lewis. Realistically, that's a very important matchup because if he loses to Spivak, he's 1-4 at that point. And I mean, ouch. ouch, it's going to be tough to see him get kept around if Spivak beats his ass after this. So, hopefully he pulls it out and we see the Black Beast that we're used to seeing. But if not, man, November is going to be a rough month for a lot of folks. Let's see here. December 3rd's card has officially been named. It will be UFC Orlando, headlined by Derek Brunson versus Jack Hermanson. That also that live. That card will also have Amanda Hebus versus Tracy Cortez, Matthias Nicolau versus Matt Schnell, Clay Guida versus Scotty Holtzman, Angela Hill versus Emily Ducote, and Darren Elkins versus Jonathan Pierce. So Orlando's stacking up to be pretty decent, provided they're still able to pull it off come December, considering that the hurricane just went through. Obviously, it thoughts with everybody in the path of fucking Hurricane Ian for sure. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Stacking up a decent card to take down to Orlando December. Now normally I would save this part for the brother Slow to do Slow's Cans and Contenders, but obviously without having a show on Thursday night, we didn't get a Slow's Cans and Contenders. We unfortunately didn't get our Tapology with TJ. I'm sure we will get caught up on a whole litany of that shit on another surprise show, most likely before the next one. We'll see. But we did get this last Tuesday the reappearance of one Bo Nickel on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, where he, to the surprise of pretty much no one, absolutely fucking ran through the 7-1 gentleman they put him up against and got his full UFC contract from Dana White. He then proceeded to call out Khamzat and point out how unprofessional it was for him to make weight. Basically said anybody at 185 better look out because he's not here to waste time. He understands exactly the position that he's in and he wants to get in there as soon as possible. Well, then we got word yesterday. No, not yesterday, Wednesday, excuse me. That not only were they not fucking around, they're serious. They're very serious. Bo Nickel has officially been booked to fight Jamie Pickett on UFC 282 December 10th. And as of right now, he opened as a minus 1,800 favorite to make his UFC debut against already established Jamie Pickett. Not that Pickett's looking the greatest right now. 2-4 in the UFC. He beat Stariopoli and Homeless Joe, whatever the fuck his name was. But Pickett's no slouch. He can fucking bang. So if he comes in and ragdolls Pickett, like I think pretty much all of us expect him to, they're going to just fucking rocket that dude straight up to the fucking top. And it's going to be real interesting to watch the rise of Bo Nickel because it's going to happen quickly if there's anything to be said about it. We've been talking about that dude on this show for 2 fucking years, at least, maybe 3 years now at this point. There's something about that fucking kid. Bo Nickel is the future of fucking MMA, man. Oh my goodness. Keep your eyes on that fucking kid. So 282 is going to be very exciting. We also got another announcement, last minute addition, if you will, to the 282 card. Chris Dock is getting back in there, taking on Jairzinho Rosenstrike. That's, I think, going to be a very interesting matchup. Both of those dudes fairly skilled, so it won't be a full-on Waller slap fight, but there's always potential for it to get slappy, especially with both of those two. So I'm down to see that one as well. Going to be an interesting matchup. 282 edition. Chris Curtis versus Joaquin Buckley. Action Man versus New Mensa. Man. Those two have bad blood outside of the cage, so the fact that the UFC is going to let them get in there and settle it, going to be very, very interesting in my opinion here. December 17th, the final UFC card of 2022 has a fight added to it. Arman Sarukian versus Damir Ismagulov. Interesting grinders. December 17th edition, Albert Duraev versus Michael Oleksijek, because Bruno Silva has officially been pulled out with an injury. I believe they said he blew his knee, so, you know, fucking quick recovery to him. Obviously feeling that one for damn sure. The January 14th, I think they said it was Vegas 70, first UFC card of the year in 2023 has another addition to it. Very interesting, in my opinion, on both sides of the matchup here. Nasser Imavov versus Kelvin Gastelum. That is almost as important of a fight for Kelvin Gastelum, I feel like, as that Spivak fight is going to be for Derek Lewis. Both of them should be able to win those fights, but there's also a very believable potential for both of them to lose. And if both of those two lose those fights, I don't want to jinx it, but those are both very much situations where both of those guys I could see getting cut if they both lose those fucking fights. Gastelum's had a hell of a run, but it's been real fucking bad lately. Letting his girlfriend be his fucking coach did not work out in his favor, to the surprise of no one. Derek Lewis had a great fucking run, but he's been on a hell of a downhill fucking slope lately as well, thanks partially to Texas, apparently. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. I'm kind of curious about this one. I don't know how they could make it at this point, but apparently they somehow have. Pen has been put to paper. It is official. UFC 283 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, has added to it Brad Tavares versus Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop coming fresh off his fucking forehead skull being exposed to the world just a little while ago, apparently is going to get right back in there in a couple months and take the pay-per-view to fucking Tavares. Not that Tavares is much of a threat, but man, yeah, I don't know. It's not a good matchup for fucking Tavares to begin with, but as long as Rodriguez is healed, because a cut that big is going to be real fucking sensitive for a while, and it's going to be real easy to bust back open something that fucking massive. I don't know. I understand wanting to get back in there, but with a fucking forehead slice like his was, actually, do we still have that queued up here? No idea. Nope. Not what I was looking for. Damn it. No, I don't think I do. I had it queued up. I think I had it queued up for the What Did I Say show. That's what it was. Yeah, so, but, you know, hey, props for being a tough son of a bitch, obviously, and getting back in there after it. So, then we get to some of the non-fight news. Excuse me. Been a long day. Newest UFC acquisition, undefeated LFA strawweight belt relinquisher to sign her UFC contract, Jacqueline Amorim, 27-year-old. Where'd it go? Where's her fucking record? It's not up here. I don't know. I was watching some footage of her, some fucking tape of her earlier when I saw this. She's fucking awesome, dude. She's gonna be a fucking problem down there for those strawweight ladies. So interested to see how it goes. Now, ordinarily we wouldn't be able to talk about something like this in the news, but seeing as how I'm doing this one solo, there's no one here to veto or plead to the commission. So we're going to mention the fact that Eddie Hearn has officially filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against Jake Paul for making public comments accusing him of fixing fights. Eddie Hearn, unlike those fucking morons, is a professional and has been for a while and is not fucking around. So I was very happy to see this $100 million, excuse me, lawsuit get slapped on that idiot, because this will at least shut him up for the time being, somewhat partially. It's worked so far. There's been very little chatter coming out of that annoying S camp, so glad for that. We did talk about this a little bit on TJ's show Wednesday. Tom Hardy has went and won himself another fucking Brazilian jiu-jitsu competition in England, in the gi, no less, without making a fuss of it or promoting it. So fucking awesome to fucking Tom Hardy, just being a human badass again. We got interesting news this week. Eddie Alvarez has, quote unquote, amicably parted ways with one championship when his contract expired, hoping to sign back with the UFC or Bellator, he said. Scott Coker has said that they are going to have dinner with Eddie. It's not anything that they're excited about, but it is definitely a possibility, being as how they have history, obviously. It's gonna be real interesting to see how that one shakes loose. This one has been talked about quite a bit, but again, it happened right after our last What Did I Say show, so we literally haven't had a chance to talk about it anywhere. Kevin Holland has tweeted to Instagram, got paid, I'm out, apparently retiring from MMA. There's been a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, but no confirmation either way. I get it. What happened sucked, but I don't think retiring is the best way to go about it. If he does, though, say la vie, sir. It was a fucking hell of a run for what it was worth. Speaking of, we got word that thanks to Aspen Ladd missing weight, fucking up, and then getting cut for the UFC from the last event, that actually still counted as the final match on Sarah McMahon's UFC contract. They did went ahead and paid her full show money and all that goodness, and then counted it as about completing her UFC contract. So she is now officially a free agent. UFC has said that they are not opposed to re-signing her, but that is not anything that they are actively pursuing right now either. They are letting her explore her options. I think she's going to retire. I have a feeling she's going to retire. Either that or she's going to PFL to go and try and win $1 million. But I don't think she's going to make it back to the UFC. They've got too many fucking ladies from the Soup Can series coming up now for 12 and 12. It just financially, the UFC's best interest to not pick her back up, despite her still being very capable, as we have seen. But UFC going to do what a UFC going to do. What are you going to say? We got confirmation this week that the reason we had a last minute switcheroo with the Jim Miller fight back in 276, that's what it was because Bobby Green actually tested positive for DHEA. He said that they think it was, where the fuck goes, he thinks it's from a supplement, obviously, but he is taking full responsibility for not verifying that the supplement was clean before he took it. So it sucks. Do your fucking job, but good on you for owning your fuck up, at least, I guess. But speaking of people who don't know how to own to their fuck up, Askar Mozarov, the guy who made it into the UFC with a fake record that got exposed before his fight, actually has now been suspended. Despite being released from the UFC roster immediately upon discovering what a sack of shit he was. Nevada State Athletic Commission has suspended him for 6 months because he also popped hot for fucking steroids in his one fight against Alonzo Menafield. So, as if we needed more reason to believe that that dude was a fucking true scumbag, ta-da, there it is. That being said, in the vein of steroid tests, Elizo Zaleski has officially been suspended for 1 year for a positive test for Ostarine. Quote unquote, a surprise to all of us, said his camp. We'll see. Again, saying that they're thinking it was probably a substance in a tainted supplement rather that they took that was not on the verified fucking list. So guys, it's not hard. They give you a list and the UFC will give them to you for free. So if you're on the roster, I don't understand why these guys keep fucking around unless they're dirty. So what are you going to do? But sticking with the vein of cheaters going to cheat, one championship 160 event win has officially been overturned for Martin Batur after he tested positive for steroids, anabolic steroids, even over in ONE FC. So 1 year suspension over there for their champion. Well, was champion potential, not anymore. And as if you needed to guess what the next story is going to be about, that's right, more fucking cheaters. This time over in the PFL, overturned PFL 5 event win over Henan Forea. Klidson Abreu has officially failed a drug test that he is blaming on steroids and antibiotics that he took in healing from a serious leg injury. The leg injury was very serious. Those aren't the same steroids that you tested positive for, so I don't get why you would try that excuse, but A for effort, I suppose. That being said, as if PFL wasn't getting enough trouble with Klidson Abreu pissing hot and getting suspended, their undefeated 2019 PFL heavyweight champion, Ali Isaev, coming back off of injury recovery, has instead opted not to re-sign with PFL when his contract expired just a month ago, and instead has now signed with Bellator's heavyweight division. So interesting to see Bellator quite literally snatch one right out from underneath PFL. Be interesting to see how it plays out. Bellator actually has a fairly interesting heavyweight roster. I think maybe not quite talent-wise as good as the UFC, but I would say a little more diverse at least. So it'd be interesting to see a legitimate fucking dude get over there. Oh yeah, that was the other one. I forgot. I put this in the other side of the list here. Scott Coker went on Ariel's show Monday for some fucking reason. I don't know why anyone goes on that show. Ariel's a fucking garbage human and a bad sports broadcaster. That being said, Scott Coker went on there Monday and announced that they are officially going to finish up the heavyweight Grand Prix that they have going on right now, and then immediately in 2023, they are going to be starting a light heavyweight Grand Prix, or excuse me, lightweight. God damn it. Words are hard live sometimes. Scott Coker announced Bellator is starting a lightweight 55 fucking pound Grand Prix in 2023. Jesus tits. Let me take a drink, see if that helps. 55-pound tournament in 2023 for Bellator. I love that they're doing these fucking tournaments. I like that they're mixing them up. I just wish that they would put on a little more cards so that we didn't have to wait 6 months between events. Worst case scenario here on the pit, you get a couple weeks between events. You know, I'm not saying we're better than them, but looks like it, doesn't it? That being said, in the vein of PFL, though, November 25th's first PFL pay-per-view event is going to be headlined by Kayla Harrison versus the trilogy no one was asking for versus Larissa Pacheco. Let's see. Nathan Schultz versus Jeremy Stevens on the prelims where it belongs. Robert Wilkinson versus Amari Akhmedov to open the card. OAM versus Stevie Ray, the Canadian gangster versus the sunglass dude. Shane Burgos versus Marlon Moraes. Brandon Loughney versus Bubba Jenkins in the co-main, and then Kayla Harrison versus Larissa Pacheco as your fucking main event on a pay-per-view card, and they're charging, wait, let me see, I saw it. They have not officially announced the cost of the pay-per-view yet. Okay, either way, it's too much. You shouldn't have to pay money to see Kayla Harrison fight, let alone her main eventing that fucking card. That's a fight night quality card if ever there was one. That being said, we got word this week that Patricio Pitbull has officially announced that if he wins against Aaron Pico this weekend, he is going to consider going for quote unquote legend status and going down to 135 pounds. Obviously inspired by the likes of Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo. I mean, he's not really a big 55 pounder or a 45 pounder rather. I think he might be able to do it. I don't know. I think it's a little bit easier for him considering that their 35-pound division isn't quite as heavy as the UFC's 35-pound division, but I don't know. We'll definitely see. We will definitely see. There we go. Next one we've got here. Actually, that's on right now. Let me see if I can get a refresh. I was going to talk about Christian Lee. Oh, no, that's not. That's for the next one. Okay, yeah. So Christian Lee will fight Cameron Abasov, champ versus champ in One Prime Video 4, November 18th. That's right. One on Prime Video 3 is going on right now. Just looking to see what the update was here. Okay, Stamp Fair Texas up next. That's one of the ones I was looking for. So yeah, we'll probably be able to finish this up in time for everybody to see that. That being said, UFC Vegas 63, Edson Barbosa is officially injured and out of the fight against Ilia Topuria on October 29th. No word on replacement or not yet. That sucks. We got official word. Conor McGregor is the only fighter on the UFC roster that has not been tested by USADA one time in all of 2022. And a bunch of excuses got made about it. It's not really news, but I thought it was hilarious. UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi, for some reason, they have rebooked for the bazillion fucking time now. Gileton Almeida versus Shamil Kimoff. They were originally going to schedule, they were originally scheduled to fight in Vegas twice, I believe. And shit just didn't work out. Yeah, first time on a fight night card, and then originally on a fight night card, and then moved to UFC 279, but that didn't happen either because Ibrahimov couldn't get his fucking visa. So now they've officially rebooked it since Jonathan Almeida's always about that life, apparently, and they're taking it to Abu Dhabi. So interesting fight added to that card, considering they just had 2 fights fall off of that card. They've got room now. Here we go. UFC 283 in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, added today, just today, Munir Laziz versus Gabriel Bofheem. I believe that is the debut for Bofheem. Yeah, he was on Contender Series after he relinquished his LFA belt to come fight for the UFC contract shot and got it. Yeah, so interesting fight down in Brazil added to that card. Hometown crowd. Yeah, Aspen Ladd missed weight and she's a fucking idiot, so they UFC cut her. Talked about that earlier. Oh, there we go. Chael Sonnen has officially had 2 more of the misdemeanors from his slew of fucking charges from that crazy fucking hotel room or hotel night casino incident dropped. The longer this goes, the more the cops actually talk to people, the more this shit's starting to unravel, the more these charges are all starting to just fall away. So it's still interesting to see this fall through. I don't even really want to talk about this one, but I feel like I kind of have to. After his recent fuckery in his exhibition match, Floyd Mayweather, Kataji, I believe, Katoji, the dude he fought last time, shitty exhibition boxing match, has officially announced he's going to do another one November 13th in Abu Dhabi against Deji. I believe that is KSI's younger brother. it's KSI's younger brother. So Floyd is basically setting up to fight fucking Jake Paul eventually, as disappointing as that is. That being said, let me pull one quick check, make sure we're not missing anything last minute. No, we are not. Okay, so that being said, as far as news goes, we're going to call that good. There are, like I said, a lot of cards this weekend, but not a lot of really great fights. The first card, Bellator 286, kicks off at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Not a whole lot to get excited about on this card all the way around. Lance Gibson Jr. versus Dominic Clark could be interesting. Gibson Jr. is a fucking badass on his way tearing through. Mike Hamill versus Max Rockshoff is going to be interesting just because Max Rockshoff quit and then Bellator signed him. See how that one plays out. Juan Archuleta versus Enrique Barzola, is probably going to be one of the best fights of the night, in my opinion. Aaron Pico versus Jeremy Kennedy. Great fucking fight. AJ McKee Jr., not excited about it, versus Spike Carlisle. Controversy on the fucking scale today with the California State Athletic Commission. They only had a 1 hour window to weigh in. Spike Carlisle weighed in at 157, had his hour, came back to make weight, and apparently his hair was wet from still being in the sauna. And the scale that they were using was literally bouncing in front of him off by 0.2, 0.4, 0.2, 0.4. And he ended up missing weight by 0.4 pounds. So some fuckery there to boot, but I still think the fight's going to be less than impressive. Spike Carlisle wasn't that great to begin with, and I don't think AJ McKee is going to give him much of a chance. I think AJ McKee is going to kind of come out there and try and blitz him, so I'm not really excited about the co-main. But Patricio Pitbull versus Adam Borch for the 45-pound belt as the main event should be really interesting. Adam Borch has come a long fucking way. So is Aaron Pico. Excited to see both those guys getting a chance to shine. The end of the Bellator card will be the best part of it, in my opinion. Also, tomorrow evening is the Bkfc 30 Lorenzo Hunt versus Quentin Henry card. Not really a whole lot of anything to get excited about on that one all the way around. Other than the debut in the co-main event of Big Ben Rothwell versus Bobo O'Banion. I have a very strong feeling Ben Rothwell is going to beat the dog shit out of Bobo O'Banion. I don't think it's going to make it till the end of the second round, if they see the second round to begin with. I have no interest in that fucking main event whatsoever. Fuck both of those goddamn clowns. You put up a fucking circus and clowns are going to show up. There you fucking go. There's your head too. That being said, though, the real reason anyone gives a flying fuck about tomorrow evening is the UFC Vegas, I believe it's 61. I'm pretty sure it's Vegas 61. Dern versus Yan. Obviously, the main event sucks. But there's actually some pretty decent lower ranking fights on the prelim. Main card actually kind of sucks for the most part. A good fight night card overall, I will say. Co-main event, Randy Brown versus Francisco Trinaldo. Massaranduba still doing it at fucking 43. That dude's a monster. Randy Brown, rude boy coming in to try and fucking prove himself. Be a real interesting matchup. The main event, though, Yan Xiaonan versus Mackenzie Dern. I'm not fucking excited about it. It's number 5 versus number 6, and there's no reason for it to be the fucking main event. Honestly, I'm really hoping Yan Xiaonan fucking beats her ass, because Mackenzie Dern has been a decision machine lately, and no one really gives two shits about her actual fighting, because it's the fake accents that everyone comes to see, because she'll have at least 7, I'm sure of it. Odds on the number of accents she will use during the fight portion or the fight day press I'd say are way more exciting than actually watching her fight. That being said, it is a main event, so there is that. I agree with you, Lucas. I was just about to say, other than the main event, the majority of the UFC card is actually fairly decent. Just not a whole lot of big name bang, a lot of obligatory fights, if you will, contractual obligations and such, but all fairly decent matchups. No real full-on snoozers, other than, ironically enough, that main event, in my opinion. Let's see if we've got a last-minute update here on ONE FC on Prime. Nope, still not started off yet. So, all right. Well, we are going to go ahead and call that all for this Friday Quickie, though. I do want to thank everyone who tuned in, especially Lucas, who's all over the chat here. Thank you to everyone who tunes in, whether you are catching this on live, whether you're catching this on a replay. This particular episode I'm already frustrated with because OBS and YouTube has been all kinds of fucking glitchy, so I don't even really know how much of it you actually got to hear. That being said, if you enjoy what we normally get up to around here, make sure you are subscribed. If you want Thursday nights, 9:30-ish Central Time, whenever there is an event that weekend, youtube.com/ImNoJoe. We go live, we do our thing. That also gets translated, described, and whatnot, and deduped into the all audio version, which you can pick up the week after it broadcasts on anchor.fm/ImNoJoe through your podcast consumption platform of choice. We are everywhere. If you would like to help if you would like to help us do what we do, the best way to do so is patreon.com/ImNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name at the end of every single broadcast on this channel as a thank you, and access to the unaired and literally unairable content we had to put behind the paywall for legality reasons. Now, OnlyFans couldn't handle it. Patreon can. For $1 a month, you can see why. That being said, if you like what we get up to around here, make sure you are subscribed and all the notifications are turned on whatever platform you're consuming this. On the other side of that, though, if you do not like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you doing this deep into a podcast you did not enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and then go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that's all for this particular evening. So remember, folks, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything, unless you think Mar-a-Lago is a declassified location.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made